So what we're going to be working on is we're going to be working on creating a monochromatic piece that's going to work with three forms. Forms are what?
Shapes.
No?
Oh.
3D shapes. So you're kind of there. So what I want to do is I want to loosely draw a base or a plane that my objects are going to fit on. So do a line across. I'm going to be working with blue, black, and white. Blue is going to be my base hue. That's my base color that I work with. White, when I add white to it, is going to create what?
Tint.
A tint. Good job. And if I add black to something, it's what, Nathan?
Shade.
Shade. Perfect. So I want to have my three objects on this plane. We're going to do a sphere, a pyramid, and a cube. So someone pick the middle form.
Sphere.
So who said, what was it?
Sphere.
Sphere? Perfect. So we're going to put the ball in the middle. So I'm going to lightly draw it in there. See, I'm going to try to use as much of the space as possible. That way I'm not wasting stuff. What's going to go on the left? Pyramid or cube?
Pyramid.
Pyramid. Okay, so I'm going to have my pyramid here. I'm going to pay attention to where the cube, not the cube, the sphere and the plane are. Because if it goes off the plane, then it doesn't make sense. So this bottom corner is below the plane. It's going to come up to there. That's going to drop back there. And then my cube is going to go over here. So now my cube, this is going to be a little trickier because I didn't give it as much space as I should have. So maybe make the sphere bigger. Or it's a smaller cube. I'm making sure it fits on the plane. Trying to make it as even as possible. The best way would be to use vanishing points on this to pull the tail ends to the sides. But for this, we're just going to use the shape. My light source is going to be up here. So everything on this side, on the right side of the objects, is going to be lighter, right? Cool. So what I'm going to do now is, make sure you get this, I'm going to be mixing paint as I go. So I'm going to be starting with my base hue, which is a phthalo blue. I'm going to put another blob of it here and a blob of it here. Please don't be as reckless as I am. I'm doing this for speed reasons. You would take time. Also, what I'm doing today really quickly, please take your time with, because if you rush it, it's going to get sloppy, especially if you've never painted before. So my palette has my three colors on there, my blue, my white, and my black. So now I'm going to start with the background first. Whenever you're working on paintings in here, I want you to start with the background first, and then you work forward, and then you go top, down, back, forward. So I'm going to start with my background. I grabbed a couple of these little brushes. I want my backgrounds to be slightly darker than the objects. So I might use my blue with a touch of black for my background hue or background shade. This means my background, ooh, I don't like that at all. And sometimes your paints are going to need another layer. This already, I can tell, will need another layer. And the reason you do the background first is because it's easier to cover up stuff in the front than to cover up stuff in the back. I'm kind of just shaping it, shaping the top part of those forms. All right, and I want you to go all the way to the top, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to. The base, I'm gonna do a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna take some of my white, mix it here with my blue. That way we know that there's a break in the two colors, that they're two different things. The background and the table are two separate things entirely. This brush had not been cleaned properly. That's why it's all bristly and gross. At the end of your paintings, you always want to make sure you wash your brushes really well. I'll put a little bit more white in there. There we go, I like that color. And I'm going to smooth that out. Paint it on the table. Make sure you clean up the table as you go. Don't wait till the end because then it's hard. All right. And all my brush strokes going kind of the same way, so it helps it know that it's a table. The background, I should do it up and down like this. It's a vertical thing, so it's like lines. If you have vertical lines, things look taller. If you have horizontal lines, they look wider. It's the same thing with clothes. So you'll never see me wear horizontal stripes because then I just look whiter than I am. It's a joke, you're allowed to laugh. All right. Okay, so if my light source is up here, I'm gonna mix a little bit of white there, just so we know. And I'm gonna start with, well, I said furthest back, right? So we're gonna start with the cube. I want to start with the base hue, but with light. Again, I should probably go lighter than what I have on there. I need a lot more white. Sometimes you're going to see colors eat up paint. Right now, that's happening. It's almost too close to that bottom part, but we're going to get this flat side of the cube done like that. I'm going to take the base.
So we're just doing this in one day? Or?
No, I want you to take time. If you could get over 2 days, today and tomorrow.
Extra credit.
What? For what? For taking your time? No, just that way it doesn't look like trash. Yours should look better than mine. I'm rushing mine. And this is going to go over the sphere, so the sphere is going to be painted over that a little bit. Now, should this side of the cube be darker? Because it has no light hitting it? Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the black into it right here. I'm going to blend it up into it. Maybe some more blue. And I'm blending and I'm blending and I'm blending and I'm trying to create gradual blend so it's not just so sharp, like it's just dark and then lighter. There has to be a blend between it. What's good for that is if you use a 2-brush blending. If I had a separate brush that was for light and a separate brush for dark, then I can blend them into each other and it blends a lot easier. All right, I'm gonna do my pyramid over here. I should have done that light color while I still had it. But that works well too. It's gonna be lighter at the top, so I'm putting that white in there. All right, darker blue for this. We'll get the shadows later. See right here, there's a problem because I can't tell what the difference between the two, right?
Yeah.
So I won't, thank you for agreeing with me. Who was that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, you're right. So we got to lighten that up a little bit, maybe,
That's fine.
but not so much that it looks like a highlight. So there we go. That looks a little better. Pops up a little bit more. Goes to that line. And I want you to have crisper lines than me. Again, I'm rushing this. Back to the sphere. I feel like you guys are doing it on purpose now. So the reason I did the back first is so I can paint over the objects that I had there. Speaking of spheres, did you guys see that sphere in Vegas at its first concert? Looks insane. What video game would you play on there?
I didn't see it.
It looks like they weren't even in a sphere.
Because it was half audience?
It literally looked like they were in space.
Well, because chairs are on half side of it.
No, it literally looked like it wasn't like a screen. It literally looked like it
It
was.
was just open?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's too much paint. Let's keep that away. All right, now because I'm doing the sphere, I'm working with the shape again, so strokes that go around the circle. So what is happening over there? Sounds like it's like gladiators are fighting.
Is that funny?
Wow. All right. And so I'm working with my shapes. I'm working with the form. The sphere's going to have that. Now, what's missing? Is there something missing from these?
I mean, it looked better than one.
Shadow. Thank you. Who's that? Jacob? Me. Well played, Jacob. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my shadow. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. My shadow, my light's coming from there, so my shadows need to cut out from the shape. I'm going to use a black because the base is still a little wet, so it's going to create a natural blend for me. That's actually horrible what I just did, so I'm going to fix that. No. It drips down and it should go straight across. That's my only downside there. So I'm going to fix that. I'm going to take my... All right, so let's lighten that up a little bit, clean that up. Now, should some of the shadow probably be on there? Probably. Let's see. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see because I can go back over it if I don't like it. I don't know. It looks right, but it doesn't feel right.
No, that's good. That's good.
Well, thank you. Okay. So, this is what you're going to start working towards. What I don't want to see is when you draw it. Oh, I don't want to flip it over all the way.
Leaf in it, that's just
What I don't want to see when you draw it is if you go this small, that's a problem. All right? For those that can't see over there, it's like that. Try to fill the space. Try to fill the space. So if you fill the space, you're going to be able to have more to paint. You're not going to be wasting your paint, and you're going to be diving in. What? All right.
Can I use one of your brushes for today?
Yeah. If you need loaner brushes for today, I got you.